Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Aya Jabber.
And I'm Mahsa Yazdaninia. Here are some of the stories we're following this morning from On the Record Newsroom. Today is Remembrance Day, when we honor those who fought in wars and other conflicts. Some, many even, who lost their lives. Veteran Affairs Canada estimates there are 3,691 living Canadian veterans from World War II. That's 667 women. 3,024 are men. TMU held its annual ceremony in the Kerr Hall Quad this morning. And in Ottawa, the official ceremony bringing together hundreds of veterans, their families, also Canadian leaders and others, observed the traditional 2 minutes of silence at 11 minutes past 11.
Here at OTR, we brought you a story 2 weeks ago that Canada was projected to lose its measles elimination status. This week, we're confirming it. The country was declared free of measles 27 years ago, but an outbreak that began last year has brought that to an end. 5,000 people have contracted measles since last year, and 2 infants have died. The Public Health Agency of Ontario reports that outbreaks have occurred primarily within what they call under-vaccinated communities.
Now, let's have a look at the other stories we're working on today and this week in our On the Record newsroom. Standing by live in the newsroom is Emma Amodio. Emma, what have you got for us?
Thanks, Aya and Mahsa. Well, it's not even the middle of November, and Toronto is already covered in snow. And so, in timely fashion, our reporters are taking a look this week at how climate change is impacting life in the city. As the cold weather settles in, Toronto's winter services plan is adding more than 1,200 new spaces to help some of Toronto's homeless find warmth and shelter. But not everyone believes the system is working as it should. Our reporter, Olivia Zhang, is speaking with encampment support workers about trust in city-run services and what real, long-term housing solutions could look like. And even though we're seeing snow right now, yearly rainfall is becoming much heavier and more frequent, but not all Toronto residents are feeling the impacts equally. Reporters Aya Jabber and Mariella Taroba-Hennigan are uncovering who bears the brunt of Toronto's floods. Statistics Canada says it's low-income residents who are the most vulnerable. Meanwhile, food insecurity in Toronto has also become an emergency. There were more than 4 million visits to food banks in the GTA last year. Reporters Nadia Sini and Gabi Grande are exploring where those food banks get their donations and how that ties into the city's plan to reach net zero by 2040. And over in the city's East End, we've got something a little more hopeful. A green space is reborn. Cudmore Creek was once a dumping ground for garbage and oil, but it's been restored into a thriving wetland, lots of trails and teeming with wildlife. Our reporter Ria Sidhu takes us there to show how projects like this can bring nature and a little bit of calm back into city life. And finally, in Woodbridge, one of the most flood-prone neighborhoods in the GTA, residents are asking whether the area is truly prepared for extreme storms. Amulia Devedi and Survi Sani are reporting on Vaughan's efforts to expand its tree canopy and why major flood prevention projects have yet to reach the community. And no need to bundle up to go out and get a print issue anymore. You can find these stories up on our website early next week. That's all from here in the OTR newsroom. Back to you in the studio, Aya and Mahsa.
Thanks, Emma. After 41 days, there's an end in sight to the government shutdown. The U.S. Senate has passed a funding bill, a deal aimed at ending the longest government shutdown in American history. The measure restores pay for hundreds of thousands of federal workers and funds key agencies through January. It now heads to the House of Representatives, where a vote could come later this week. But disagreements over healthcare subsidies, the issue that triggered the shutdown, could still complicate a final resolution.
The UK's public broadcaster is in its deepest crisis in years. The Director General resigned on Sunday, followed by the head of news. The resignations came after a series of stories over the past few years that have left the BBC vulnerable to accusations of bias. The latest was evidence that producers at the current affairs show Panorama had edited together 2 sections of Donald Trump's speech to protesters, immediately before the Capitol Hill riots in January 2021. The edits made it appear that Trump directly goaded the protesters into violence. Trump is now threatening to sue the BBC for $1 billion US.
And now, in sports, here's our reporter Gabi Grande with stories that round out all the latest.
Thank you. So, call it coincidence, but with the first snowfall of the year on the weekend, hockey season is now in full swing. But it seems the Toronto Maple Leafs didn't get that memo. From last season's heights of winning their first ever Atlantic Division title to now being 23rd in league standings, the boys in blue are struggling to deliver on expectations. The Buds were handed back-to-back come-from-behind losses on the weekend, and making it even more painful, those losses came to two of their conference rivals, the Boston Bruins and the Carolina Hurricanes. The team has allowed an average of 3.75 goals against per game, while last season that metric was 2.79 per 60 minutes. It means the Leafs are currently second last in the league in goals against per game. And so, Leafs Nation, maybe a bit too early to start planning the victory parade. And in Canadian women's soccer news, the Northern Super League's inaugural championship match is set. The Vancouver Rise will square off against AFC Toronto. Saturday's match at BMO Field will mark the end of a historic season for the new league, which incidentally enjoyed unprecedented support coast to coast throughout the season. The winner of the match on Saturday will take home the championship cup. Elsewhere in sports news, two Major League Baseball pitchers are accused of betting offenses. Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, both former pitchers for the Cleveland Guardians, are charged with wire fraud and money laundering conspiracies. The top charges carry a potential sentence of 20 years in prison. Talk about a ball coming out of left field. Back to you on the desk.
Thanks, Gabby. So here's a question. Bodybuilding. Is it sport or beauty contest or even something else entirely? OTR producer Survi Sani and reporter Praise Ditep went to a bodybuilding event over the weekend. Here's their story.
Next.
Athletes arrive coated in bronzer and covered in rhinestones, ready to take the stage at this competition called the Ultimate Fitness Event. Bodybuilding might look glamorous under the stage lights, but behind the dazzle, the shimmer, and the sculpted physiques, there is sometimes a cost that can be hard to see.
I have an accident of motorcycle since 2 years, and after that, I was in a chair, mobile chair.
It took him 2 years of training to rebuild his body, but the physical challenge was not the hardest part.
They say, "Oh, you don't drink, you don't eat fast food." Okay. So it's for that. It's very difficult. It's a difficult sport for that.
For others, bodybuilding becomes emotional healing.
I was married for 25 years. That ended, and this is pretty much where it grew from. Saved my life, I would say, mentally, emotionally. I love it.
Andrea is now a life and fitness coach, guiding others through their own transformations. And the financial cost, well, for many athletes, the literal price of victory is high.
It's a big finance commitment because we travel. It's gas and hotel and everything else. Suits aren't cheap. Makeup and none of that stuff's cheap, but you save every year, and you just kind of put a little bit aside.
For many athletes, bodybuilding is more than a sport. It's a lifestyle. Despite the financial pressure, these athletes keep coming back for confidence, community, and the thrill of the stage. For On The Record, I am Praise Ditep.
And before we wrap up, our very own Mahsa Yazdaninia, seen here, is pulling double duty today. Before we went to air today, Mahsa got in front of the green screen to bring us all the latest in entertainment this week, including Grammy nominations and band reunions.
Thanks. First up, let's talk Grammys. Music's biggest night just got a remix. The 68th annual Grammy Awards nominations are out, and this year's lineup proves that the Recording Academy is finally singing a more global tune. Kendrick Lamar leads the pack with 9 nominations, including heavyweights like Album, Record, and Song of the Year. Lady Gaga is right behind with 7, making serious power moves across genres. And here's one for the history books. Bad Bunny has become the first Spanish-language artist ever nominated in all 3 major categories: album, record, and song of the year in the same year. But wait, there's more. Taylor Swift, yes, the Taylor, isn't on the ballot this year, not because of a snub, but because her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, dropped just after the eligibility window closed. Talk about bad timing. Even a superstar can't outrun a deadline. Now, in more local news, Canadian rock royalty is back. Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman are reuniting as the Guess Who for their first full Canadian tour in more than 20 years, set for 2026. Starting in Moncton, they'll be hitting Toronto, Winnipeg, Calgary, Vancouver, and more. And lastly, news out of Halifax this week. Mike Smith, the Canadian actor best known for portraying Bubbles on the long-running comedy Trailer Park Boys, has been arraigned on a sexual assault charge. According to court documents, the charge stems from an alleged 2017 incident involving a woman. Smith was formally charged on October 2nd and appeared through his lawyer in Halifax Provincial Court yesterday. He was not present for the arraignment. The prosecutor told reporters that Smith will not receive any special treatment because of his fame. Smith is scheduled to enter a plea on December 3rd. For those unfamiliar, Trailer Park Boys is one of Canada's most iconic comedy exports, a mockumentary-style series that follows 3 petty criminals in a fictional Nova Scotia trailer park. Its offbeat humor and quotable characters made it a cult favorite both at home and abroad. That's all for entertainment. Back to you at the desk. That's all for On the Record this November 11th. I'm Mahsa Yazdaninia.
And I'm Aya Jabber. Join us for the On the Record next week as we round out the latest stories from the OTR newsroom.
And for the latest 24/7, visit our website ontherecordnews.ca. Have a great day.